with Abyss, and tonight we have the one and only quarter of Abyss. Welcome, Jess. Just a heads up, I just got a thing that said connection lost, so I don't know if I'm still streaming or not.
On this it says live and still counting.
Yeah, I just got notified from YouTube too that we're live, so I guess we're good. All right. So Jessie, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you?
My name is Jessie. Me and Mom founded Abyss in, was it 06, Mom? I think it was 06, around there. That's when I came back from Florida. I don't know. I am horrible to talk about myself, so I mean, I'm not sure what anybody would want to know, so I'm kind of like, eh.
Okay.
It's lagging on my end.
Stinking thing. I don't know what's going on. Well, Ruben's watching videos over there, so that might be it. I'm killing it. But anyway, so
how old am I?
Yes.
I am I was born in 84, so that makes me 40.
There for a second, I thought you were going to say you were 84. I was like, no.
Well, some days I feel like it.
All right. So so we all know that you live in Lebanon. Are you born a Lebanese?
No. I was born in Kansas City.
Okay. Hey, Dina. Do you see your chat now?
Yep, I see her.
Perfect. Okay. So, Ruben, Dina says, hey. Okay. All right. And so, if that's all you can talk about yourself.
Well, I'm not very good at talking about myself. I mean, if you got questions, ask me. But I mean, what would they want to know?
Whatever you think. So, okay, well, let's just jump into it then. So, how did you get into the paranormal field?
Well, I mean, I've had experiences when I was young. We lived in a house that had a haunted playroom. So that's kind of my first introduction to paranormal stuff. And then me and Mom both share the fact that our dreams tend to come true. And that's really the only dreams I have when I do dream. And there's been off and on different things throughout my life where I've had experiences here or there. I mean, and then I tend to like looking into different religions and afterlives and underworld stuff like that. So, I mean, it all kind of grew as I got older.
All right. Can you tell us a story about one of the dreams that you've had that came true? That's interesting.
Well, I mean, they're really simple dreams. It's not like I get like a full-on dream. It's snippets for me.
Okay.
Like, and usually it's daily life. And how I kind of use it is like, okay, my life's moving forward, because it tends to like be like a pen note where like I feel like I'm stagnating for a while, and then that dream a dream I've had previous will show up at that point, and I'll be like, okay, my life's starting to move forward. There's change coming.
Oh, well, that's kind of cool. So I've had like several like dreams within dreams, or had a dream that's repeated so many times that I'm all like, I know what's going to happen next, and I can work my way through the dream literally. But I didn't know.
Well, I had something like kind of like that with like when I was younger. I tended to control my dreams with like I'd visualize basically a soda pop machine, and I used to select what dream I wanted to have the night when I was a kid.
That's cool though.
But I haven't been able to do that in a long time, so I don't know. It just kind of went away.
We get old. We lose that ability to do cool shit. Dina says, "Oh hell nah, haunted playroom." You want to talk more about that?
I mean, it was one night I got up, went to the bathroom, and how the house set up. You understand? You come up the stairs, and then to the left was the playroom, and then straight forward was the little half bath, and it had an outhouse door on it, and it had a crescent moon in the house in the door itself. Um, so I gotten up and I went to go to the bathroom, and then the door to the playroom opened and shut on its own, and it looked like somebody was looking through the crescent shaped moon in the door at me. So I ended up being freaked out, little kid.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up sleeping in the bathroom that night because I refused to open that door.
Okay. What did it look like in the moon though? What did it look like?
It was a person's face, but I couldn't really tell if it was a male or female.
Okay. Did it look fleshy like us, or was it more shadow or you?
It was kind of a shadow and pale a little bit,
Okay.
but slightly see through. It was one of those things.
That's kind of cool though. Did you guys ever?
I don't remember us ever figuring out exactly who or what it was. But then again, back then we wasn't really into it as much as we are now, or had the equipment or the knowledge that we have now.
Gotcha. I figured with your mom the way she is, she would have been all like, "Okay, we're going to figure this out," you know. So,
And it was an old farmhouse
but
up near Kansas City.
okay, okay. So,
I think it burnt down about 15 years ago.
oh, okay. That's unfortunate though too.
Mm-hmm.
So you said that you guys founded the group in 2006 when you returned from Florida. So what during that time made you guys decide to go ahead and take the plunge?
Well, I mean, when I came back from Florida, I played it down. The kids' bedroom for upstairs. Oh, positive paranormal experience. Sorry, I read chat at the same time. I'm not used to this, so
You're fine. You're okay. Go ahead.
positive paranormal experience. I would probably say I've seen my great grandmother at one point.
Now, are we referring to Vicky's mom
No,
or
I'm
Vicky's
referring,
grandmother?
no, I'm referring to my dad's grandmother,
Okay.
Grandma Helen.
Okay. And what was that experience like?
Well, I mean, it was just down the hall. I seen her for a moment, and then she kind of just faded.
Okay.
I mean, it just let me know that she was kind of around, you know.
Cool. Yeah. Did you guys have a close relationship, or did she pass away before you were born or anything like that?
She passed away. Was it 95, Mama? Yeah, the beginning. It was about 95, 96, beginning of 96, somewhere in there. She passed away.
Okay. Okay. And were you guys close?
I think. No, I'd say she was good with all the kids, grandkids. I mean,
Okay.
she's the only person who can get me eat fish. I mean, she never used a measuring cup. All by just going, you know, and cast iron skillets and everything else. I mean, amazing food.
Oh man. See, I got this lady at work and I love her to death. She's actually one of my closest friends and I just love her to death. But anyway, she's in her 70s, age. And her mom, like a mom and pop restaurant or whatever. So she does the old school cooking like back in the day.
Cooking from scratch, basically.
Yes, but the things that like we wouldn't think of these days because of our lives, the way they are so busy, even today, like baking for dinner, you know what I mean? And it, she said, and then she corrected herself, fish. But anyways, but she's starting to share some of her recipes with me actually, and I'm so excited to try some of them out. Grandmas could always throw down in the kitchen. Yep.
Well, I mean, what you all might consider doing is even going to like Goodwill and picking up the cookbooks and stuff from there, or even because you always find or
Uh-huh.
old garage sales. You can find old cookbooks like that too.
Yep. So, okay. So back in 2006, you returned from Florida. So made you and mom decide to, hey, Jonathan, decide to go ahead and take the plunge and form the group?
I mean, we've always had conversations about our experiences here and there, and then of course Taps came out,
Mm-hmm.
Ghost Hunters, and we got really into that. And I've actually met him, met them,
That's cool.
and then we were like, well, we should probably try getting a group together and see what we could do. What is this doing?
What
There
is
we
it
go.
doing?
It popped up a screen up in front of everything, so I was trying to get it out of the way so I could actually see.
Oh, weird. Okay.
So then we decide to get everybody together and try to see if we can form a group. And of course, that's how you met me, and
I
that's
was
how
just
you
going
got
to
in
say,
here.
and it was not long after that then you and I met. Which I mean, looking back now, I guess it is kind of comical. Your mom thinks it's hilarious, the story, I suppose. But so, like, I met Jessie because we worked together, and we were closing up one night. I think it was just the two of us left, and I was in the office counting money, and he was getting ready to walk out the door. And I remember him saying something about going on a ghost hunt, and I was like, "Wait, wait, 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 wait!" I was like, "Come back here and tell me about this." Um, I didn't know it was a real thing. Although I was watching Taps at the time, I was watching Ghost Hunters, but I never knew it was like that kind of a thing. I thought it was just a TV show. And to know somebody personally, I was like, "Oh, I'm getting into it."
I mean, it's good to find like minded people on things and being able to kind of figure things out. So
Right. Hey, Andrea. Um, so and I kind of missed that show. They came out with that Ghost Nation recently, and it only had like a couple seasons, I think, and it just didn't take off. Like,
anymore, I think a lot of them try too hard.
I was going to say, because they did stop with the whole method they started off with was to disprove a haunting, leaving nothing but the option of it being a haunting. And now it's not like that. Now they went in and it was just like, oh, and it's like, what happened? But
Well, I mean, you're one thing. I think the biggest problem with a lot of them is a lot of them tend to get going and get a little bit. They lose track of what they started with and where they were, what their cores were on it.
yep.
And I try to
Yes.
keep myself back as close as I can to my core on it, even though me and mom tend to butt heads once in a while.
If we didn't butt heads every once in a while, then we wouldn't really be that diverse of a group, and then the group would just be pointless. So,
This is true.
yep. Um, Dina says Destination Fear was canceled but moved to YouTube. Project Fear. Oh yes, I know. I started watching some of their stuff, and then I love Destination Fear. Have you ever seen that, Jesse?
I have not. You know me. I've been working a lot and just trying to get through a lot of stuff for the last while, so I haven't really caught up on a lot of things.
Okay. Well, let me give you a little briefing of it. Dakota Layden, he teamed up with Zach Bagans at one point and was a cameraman for him. Okay. Um, then Zach got him started on his own show, which was Destination Fear.
Oh, that's the truth. I do hate the spirit box, Ruben, and everybody knows it.
Oh yes,
Vicky
we.
likes it.
Oh, I
That's one of the
hate
things
that.
her butt
I
rubs on.
I hate the spirit box. Your mama
Nails
sent
on
me.
chalkboard to me is all it is.
Your mama is going to be so like, what is wrong with her? But anyway, so she sent me all of her evidence from that most recent investigation, and she's hearing all these things, and I'm just like, I think it's radio garble. I think it's radio garble. I think it's radio garble. But it's because it's so argumentative. You know what I mean? It is radio stations coming through, so it's hard to determine, is that actually somebody speaking to us if it didn't go over numerous waves, one full sentence or the same voice or etc. And then if it comes in singy songy, was it just a part of a song we heard? You know what I mean? It's just so debatable. But it also is so annoying. And it just overwhelms your
Well,
head.
Jonathan said there's something you can do to where it doesn't do that.
Yeah, so what is that called? They've created something that takes that noise out, and now it just leaves the voice behind. But Ruben, what's that called?
A suppressor of some sort.
No, it was some sort of suppressor, but
I did see it.
I mean, it's a choke, but I don't know what they would call it in, like fun.
Well,
What
I
you're saying,
seen it
Jessie?
on it was some ad for something. It was ad for what it was. It was for a thermal thing that you like plug into your phone and make your camera work like a thermal camera.
It's Fleur. They came out with an attachment.
I just thought I was like, that'd be something cool to get. Because then you could just take pictures with your phone itself and not have to fight with trying to get it off the other machine or whatever.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Dina said filter through ITC box. Is that what it is, Ruben? An ITC box? Yeah. Because looking at it. Andre is like squelch modulator. I don't know. She's funny. That's why you need to slow it down. I did, and there's still some of them that I'm just like, I don't know. But anyway, what I was saying about Destination Fear, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was Dakota, and he teamed up with his sister, his childhood best friend, and another friend of theirs who was a cameraman. They travel around America on an RV, and they stay at haunted locations overnight. They explore together, then they break out by themselves and sleep overnight in their own room because it's to heighten the paranormal experience, so to speak. They feel like when you're alone, you're more scared, therefore flux capacitator. That's it. Anyways, that it feeds the paranormal activity, so to speak, and it's not necessarily incorrect. We all believe that energy feeds energy. So, but anyways, I guess they got too big for their according to Zach Bagans, and they're not. So they went over to YouTube. So the answers in music are so well timed, it's hard to look past it. Yeah, Joe, that was good. Flux capacitor. Answer to all the questions. 1.21 gigawatts. Yeah. So we know as a group what your favorite equipment is. Why don't you tell everybody else what your favorite equipment is?
My favorite equipment? It really depends on what I feel at the investigation. I mean, I tend to use the camera a lot, my phone a lot, or a camera.
Yep.
And I like just kind of go sit and just feel the room, kind of deal. That's how I personally like to do things, but that's just me.
Yep.
Get a feel for wherever I'm at and kind of see if I feel anything, look at anything, see if I catch something that way. That's what I tend to do.
Right. So let me ask you this. When you're talking about the physical feelings that you might get from sitting in a room or whatever, do you have any of those things that everybody talks about where like you can feel like temperature fluctuations, rapid heartbeat, things like that? Do you feel any type of physical changes like that?
Well, I don't think I feel physical changes to myself. It's just I get a feeling like when we did the Crybaby Hollow, when we were down there, I kept on wanting to look at this one embankment because it was really steep up that embankment, but I was drawn to that embankment, and that's where I was drawn to the whole time. I was there. There was just something either something was watching me from there, or that was the feeling I got.
Gotcha. Now, was that the same night you also, when you felt that, you ended up turning and getting a picture?
I can't hear you. What'd you say?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Weird. Was that the same place? Wasn't it you that when you got that feeling, you turned to take a picture and you actually captured something in your photo?
That was one of the places that's happened to me for.
Okay. Was that the same night though? You said that you felt like somebody was
Yeah,
watching you, and okay,
yeah.
gotcha, gotcha. So outside of your family home, have you ever lived in another haunted home, like when you were in Florida?
No, Florida. Most of the stuff there where I lived was new builds. It was apartment complexes when I lived there. Now, when I lived there, my favorite place there was this flea market that was down the road, and it was huge.
Did you live in Clearwater?
I lived in Oldsmar, which was a little town in between Tampa, St. Pete, and Clearwater.
Okay, so I bet you were thinking about the same flea market. That's why I was asking. It was
Wagon wheel flea market.
huge. The
Yeah.
what? The
Was it
wagon wheel. Yes,
wagon wheel?
that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's so funny. Oh, your mom. Remember, Liz, Jesse, he jokes spirits is afraid of him.
They don't tend to mess with me like everybody else.
Me neither. So Jesse has a theme song, I think, about himself.
Oh, you're talking about where I had the introduction to my class when I was a teenager. Yes, I did a presentation, a slideshow, a PowerPoint introducing myself, and I used the song in it, "Sympathy for the Devil."
Which is a fantastic song.
I liked it, and I got it to line up, and the whole presentation went right to it.
Right. Ruben, I don't know what you're saying there. Aura, maybe?
Hmm.
What are you talking about?
Well, like you were saying, how ghosts fear him. Maybe it's his aura.
Oh, it's your aura. He said that why the ghosts fear you.
Mm.
And Dina, you're right. It's the living people you have to worry about. I say that all the time. But um yeah. Um
It's
so
kind of the
anyways,
same.
so the wagon wheel flea market though. So you went down there when I was asking if you lived in a haunted house in Florida, you started that.
Yeah, we were talking about. That's my favorite. One of my favorite places down there was going to that because it was just all the interesting things you could find there.
So being that you lived in that central area though, did you ever explore St. Petersburg? Or was it like
I did. I went. I don't. I think I only went to St. Pete's once. Now, what would get me really weird feelings was Clearwater, but because I go to Clearwater Beach, but like to get to Clearwater Beach, you had to drive through the Scientology neighborhood.
oh yes. Uh-huh.
And I didn't realize it was that when I first got there until I actually got some locals to go with me to go to the beach. But every time I drove through there, I got this weird feeling. And I couldn't explain it. I was like, have you ever seen, what was that movie? Children of the Damned. It was with the white haired alien kids. That's what I kept on thinking was going to like step out onto the sidewalk every time I drove through there.
Yes. So
Clearwater. It was St. Augustine. No, it was Clearwater, St. Pete, and Tampa. They're
yeah,
all
St.
up there.
Augustine is all the way on the other side of the state up north. And they're not near each other at all. So my mom lived in Clearwater, and
Mm-hmm.
a guy she was seeing had a automotive repair shop right there in downtown Clearwater. To the front was a Scientology building. To the right was this huge Scientology building. It was just because he lived, or his shop was
It was
right
it's their
before you hit
church.
that bridge to get
The
over to
really big building is their church or whatever you can
yes,
call it.
huge. And but where his shop was, so if you know where Clearwater Beach is, his shop sat here, and then there was that road that goes over by
Mm-hmm.
past the aquarium, over the the canal to it, and right over to the beach. His shop was right there on that corner. But um, yeah, Dina, she's like they own all that area.
Well, I'm sure they own a lot more than that by now, since
Oh
I was
yes,
last there.
yep. They were actually trying to take out his shop. So Dina says, I was in Clearwater on vacation when I was about 12. No Scientologists back then, just cockroaches.
They fly down there.
They're huge.
They fly down there.
Yep. Um. Okay, and so the Scientology thing is what gave you the creeps, but not really anything haunting or anything like that
Well,
down there.
I had a weird vibe there, and like I said, for some reason, that's what came to my mind was Children of the Damned every time I drove through there until I found out that, and I was like, alien kids, Scientologists makes sense.
I mean, that's what they believe. That's what their belief is that we're aliens, you know. So yeah, absolutely. The reason why I was asking about St. Petersburg though is Dina, their bugs are on steroids. Um, was because so Ruben and I we actually did a ghost tour in St. Pete, and we didn't realize that there was so much history in St. Petersburg. I mean, it was really kind of cool. They had this pink hotel down there. Literally think it's called the Pink Hotel. I don't remember what it's called, but anyway.
I think I drove by there because I think if I remember right, I actually had to go into St. Pete to go to the DMV.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That was
Well,
the easiest DMV to get to was that one over in St. Pete.
Okay.
And I only lived there for 2 years, so.
Oh, okay. Well, this motel is just absolutely gorgeous. It was built, I think, in the 1920s, and it kind of kept that 1920s charm about it. Even the front was still had like the big southern fern thing going on, the wicker furniture out front, a cigar smoking area, and then the inside was just gold and marble, and it was just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. But
Did you guys go
apparently,
to Ybor?
I'm sorry.
Did you guys go to Ybor while you were down there? Ybor was over in Tampa.
Oh,
And it's basically the strip that has all the clubs are all along that. It's called Ybor City.
yeah, definitely not. We had kids. We didn't do anything like that. I mean, Mom watched them one night while we went to the Hard Rock over in Tampa, but that's about it.
While I was there, I did go to the first Hooters. That's in Clearwater. The very first one's there.
Ruben went to Hooters in Pensacola when he was on the Navy base. So, Florida, Hooters, it makes sense. Ruben put his thumbs up. So, can you tell the people watching what your favorite investigation has been so far?
All the investigations I did, what was my favorite? I would have to go with probably Graffiti Bridge. I don't know. That's the one I kind of liked.
Okay. Can you tell us what your experience was at Graffiti Bridge?
I mean, I didn't really get any major things. So it's just I liked. I can't explain it. That's the one I liked because we did Graffiti Bridge, and we also did the witch's grave over at the little cemetery.
Oh, yes. Elizabeth Ashley, I think it was.
I can't remember now. That was what 07?
Yeah, it's been a minute. But I was with you that night because I remember that.
I think that was wasn't that your first? Or your second?
It might have been because I know we did Ashley Park somewhere around that time too. But
I want to say Ashley was after that.
It might have been. Your mom would know. Why is she not up there speaking up? She knows exactly all of it. Okay, so like Dina said, so it's just like it's a vibe there for you that you're
that's
just
one. That's the one I liked out of all of them I've done. Is that one, I think. Not that the other ones are bad or horrible and I hated them all. It's just that's the one I think I liked the most.
Gotcha. Okay, and then can you tell us what your least favorite investigation was?
Oh, least favorite. I'd probably go with the one that Ruben hated, which was the one with the dolls. Hartville, yeah. But that,
Your mom knows that one, Hartville.
yeah, but
That's my least favorite too.
but I mean that one. It wasn't because I got a bad vibe or anything like that, or the dolls didn't mess with me at all either. It was just
A waste of time.
to me it was just. Heh. I
Yeah,
don't know why I felt that way about it, but that's just the way I feel about that one. I was just, heh.
me too. I definitely was not.
And it wasn't like I was specifically didn't like the people or got a bad vibe from the people or anything like that. It was just it did nothing for me for some reason. I
Right,
can't explain.
exactly.
I have no specific reason I could say that I didn't like that one or it was just eh.
Yep. That was me too. That's my least favorite because of that exact reason. I just felt like we were wasting our time there. I just, I didn't feel nothing. I didn't see nothing. I don't even think we had any evidence from there. Ribbons, stuff like that. So, but so Dina wants to know what's the most fearful or negative place or experience you've had.
Well, most negative for me, but that would be me going on the one I've already told you about, would have been the playroom where I ended up sleeping on the toilet. I mean,
Yeah.
as far as the one that most affected me negatively, as far as like it shook me the most. But that was also because I was young and didn't know what was going on. At that point, I wasn't as experienced as I am now. I think if something like that would happen now, I'd be like, huh, okay.
I know. You'd be like,
you know,
hey, how you doing? So
you
it's just because
know,
you couldn't rationalize it.
well, it's lack of understanding compared to what I have now.
Mm-hmm.
And my thought process is, of course, way different from when I was a kid to what I am now. I've grown as a person, and I have different ways of dealing with things and thinking about things. I think we all have that.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Um, okay, do you have a thing about dolls like Ruben does?
No,
Okay. Dina's like, nope, no dolls.
I mean, I don't specifically go out of my way to watch scary movies, but I mean, I don't. They don't. Dolls don't bother me.
Right. So Dina said, well, as an adult and investigator. Exactly. Yeah. As a kid, he just couldn't. That's all.
Well, I didn't understand what I was
So,
seeing, and it freaked me out as a kid.
right.
Because I wasn't understanding. Because I was like, "Who is this? What is this? Why is it here?" I didn't understand anything about it. At that point.
So as that being your real first memorable experience and stuff like that, as you progressed into teenage years and stuff like that, did you ever experience anything else after?
Well, I mean, that would have been later on. I did see my grandmother, like I said,
Okay.
in my teens. So I mean, it's just it's been a kind of a thing. It's grown with me as I've figured out things, learned different things. And like I said, I've always had a thing for cultures and religions and things like that, where I'd look into that, and those things helped me shape my thought processes on what I was seeing and do my own thing. And I kind of draw from different sources anyway to kind of figure out, do I agree with this? No, yes, no, why, maybe. That's kind of just me
Sure.
growing as myself
Gotcha.
and being able to deal with things.
Okay. So with that
Does
in
that make
mind,
sense?
yeah, no, it does. It does. So with that in mind, what do you think happens away? Do you think that we all stay here in a spiritual form, or do you think some of us pass and some of us stay? How do you think that works?
I'm kind of a believer. What I'll say is kind of a believer in many paths. Everybody has to find their own path as far as any religion goes and find what works best for them. And then I figure from that point on, what'll happen is what you've chosen for yourself or what you most identify as how you will proceed forward. Does that
Okay.
make sense?
Yeah. Yep. So the reason why I asked this is because of the several people I've had on here already. Some of them just subscribe to different theories. One of the most common, it seems to, is unfinished business. The most common theory of all out there, that some people stay behind because of unfinished business. What are your
Well, I
thoughts
don't
on that?
necessarily think necessarily can just be unfinished business. It could be trauma. even.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it could be a lot of different things. I mean,
Right.
everybody has their own individual things and that they deal with and how they process things or not process things that causes them not to process it. So I figure it could be innumerable different things. It just depends on who that person was, how they dealt with things, and what their understanding was at that point.
Gotcha.
Is how I
So,
would look at it. Anyway.
right. And it makes sense. So, Dina, don't forget to hit that like and do all the YouTubey stuffs. um, so what are your thoughts then about
Oh yes, mother. Hiding the squirrel. Yes, we all have heard this story.
obviously she wants us to talk about that. So
Well, she's just trying to embarrass me and keep us going, I guess.
oh Ruben, my computer's dying. Dang, this stinking thing never stays plugged in. Well, you can plug me in. It keeps falling out of the plug in. So if I lose you, I don't know what happens. um, but anyway, so what are your since you studied a lot about different religions and stuff like that, how do you feel about past lives and reincarnation, stuff like that?
Well, basically, I kind of already addressed that. Is everybody has to find their own path on things, and what their path they've chosen for themselves or what they believe in will dictate what they deal with after, I believe. So
Okay.
therefore, like, if you are whatever religion it may be, past for that, you would go that route. You know what I mean?
Okay, so you think that basically we all have the option to choose what happened to us after. It just depends on what we understand and subscribe to, so to speak.
Yeah.
So you're saying basically that none of them are wrong ever. So like basically
Well,
they're
I think everybody has to find what works best for them to make them a better person. That's the best route to begin with.
right.
Because not, I don't think any one of them's going to work for everybody. Just one of them's
Right.
going to work for everybody, and I just think that's dumb to even think that that's going to work. I'm
Right.
sorry,
Yep.
because I mean, look at our politicians, and they can't agree on crap as it is.
Right. Yep. Okay. So my hope is that the reincarnation is real. I hope that because I am really constantly all the I am going to do this
You
in my life. And huh.
keep breaking up there, so I didn't catch that.
Oh, am I clear now?
You're still breaking up a little bit.
Okay, are you still there? Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm back. I'm still here.
Weird. It switched sides and I lost connection, it said. So
Yeah.
um so what I was saying though was I personally hope for reincarnation. I would like I like to consciously think all the time about like my decisions that I make. So like if
That doesn't surprise me with you. Like you and Ruben both, I would think, would subscribe to that. It's like you're paying your dues, kind of thing.
so to speak, yes. And so but I also think about things like, okay, so if I do get to do this over, I'm definitely going to make this decision if I'm presented with this situation again.
Well,
Or
here's the question that you got: do you subscribe to the people that believe that you choose what you start off with to begin with? So you chose it to begin with.
right. Right. If I was in fact reincarnated, yes, I chose this
No,
life.
not
So,
reincarnated. I'm just saying. Let's say you're starting from the beginning. Some people say that you actually choose what you're starting off with to begin with.
oh, I don't know about this theory. So how does that work?
Well, it's the same thing. Like you choose your parents, you choose your trials and what you're going to go through. It's the same.
I've heard that. Okay. Yeah. I've heard like stories where kids, you know, know, I chose you, that sort of thing. And I was like, what? So I don't know. I guess it's possible. I kind of hope though, because if I do get to start over and I get to make that decision,
Well, and then you also got people that think a lot of souls stay together in families. Like families just kind of hip hop and tumble over each other and keep going along lines.
yes.
Kind of
Yeah,
too.
I've seen many stories where the kids were saying, I'm such and such person. I was killed by this, and can, talk about what happened to them. I think that's fascinating.
Well, that's not what was talking about. I was talking about like the kid said, "I was your mom in the past life, and you were my daughter," or "I was your father or uncle or cousin or whatever it may have been."
Right.
That families tend to stick together and just kind of hip hop through
Yeah.
down the line.
Yeah. That's cool too, though. I think it's amazing because if that's the case, and then that means that they did make that conscious decision, like you were saying earlier, where they chose this particular path. You know,
Yeah.
that would be cool. I, sh-
Are you trying to tell me I'm stuck with you if you get the choice? Okay. I guess I'll have to deal with that.
I was just thinking, I was like, ooh, what would I do? In all seriousness, though, my first thought was, okay, I know that my child, Aubrey, has two kids, and there's a good chance that she might have another. And if I should pass away at one point or another, I think I'm going to come back and just drive her insane. I'm going to be that next child. I'm going to be like, ha 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 ha.
Well, you probably wouldn't be because you'd be the youngest and you'd be spoiled to begin with.
Probably so. Or she'd be so exhausted, she'd put me up for adoption. I'd be like, damn it, where am I at now? Uh, so Andrea says, it's like you write your own story before you come live it.
That's what some people think. I think that maybe necessarily you don't get to know the whole details and how it's going to go, but you get kind of like a just to kind of say these things you're going to have to learn. These are the
Right.
lessons you're going to have to learn. Not necessarily how are you going to learn this lesson. These are just lessons you have to learn. Because otherwise, what would be the point?
Yep. So actually, it's the Hindu religion that believes in reincarnation, and they subscribe to the idea that if you do wrong in your current life, when you die, you have to be reincarnated to something that's in the lower level, so to speak, a lower class of species.
Well,
So
they're a caste group anyway.
they're
Society,
a what group?
a caste society. They have castes.
Oh, I guess I don't know what the affiliation is between it.
Uh,
Their level of
caste be it wouldn't be necessarily it wouldn't be like slavery per se, but it'd be like if you don't belong to the same caste as somebody else, some castes are considered lower than other castes.
So basically, okay, so yeah,
Not
yeah,
almost feudal, but not quite.
okay,
That's how I would
okay,
kind of look at it.
yep. And so that lends to exactly how they think about what happens to us when we die. Then, because if you don't do good for mankind or whatever, then when you die, you're being punished. You will be punished anyway to come back as something lesser than. And apparently, you can get about as low as a slug, so to speak. But then I can't help but think, does a slug have a conscious thought process though? And so how would he learn? You know?
Does, does an
So
earthworm?
oh, there are the earthworms too. Yep. So I don't know. I kind of like that thought too, because then at least you feel like karma's real,
Well,
you know?
karma is real, but karma doesn't. I don't think that would fall into karma. I think that karma is more of like you've done something and it comes back within that lifetime. Personally,
That's
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 how
what
I would see karma.
I
Well, I
definitely hope.
guess that could fall over into other, but I tend to think karma as within the same lifetime. but I guess it could follow over into other lives if you were really that bad.
Yep. And that's what I'm thinking. I uh I certainly hope karma shows her ugly face in their lifetime, because I would like to witness that. But
Let it go. Let him hang himself.
that's usually what happens. So, but I think it's ironic though, because if you are looking from a religious aspect or whatever, so many, like especially the Middle East religion, it is just straight up either you go to heaven or you don't. You know what I mean? And but they're also the ones with the jinn entity. Like, what is that in their culture? Is that a spirit?
I believe Jin's considered demonic.
What I kind of thought too. But I wonder if they ever have hauntings, though, like what we could experience, with spiritual things.
Would have to actually talk to one of them to know for sure. It'd be something interesting to talk about and find out.
Yeah, it would, because I know, like, if we're talking about like Christian religion, some of them as Christians believe that spirits are possible, hauntings are possible, but then you got others who are more on the extreme side who don't believe that there are such things as spirits, but in fact they might just be straight up demons, every single one of them. But then you also have the Christians who don't believe that spirits exist at all and yet still subscribe to the idea of the Holy Spirit. You know what I mean? And
well, there's extremes in any religion or belief or thought process to begin with, if it's established for a long period of time.
Right. Dina says, I tend to think we write it as we go, and Andrea agrees with that. I think our lifeline as we go, we make the decision. And I can see that. Everything that we do has consequences and actions to it. So,
well, I mean, maybe that's part of the lesson is figuring out, hey, I learned this and I don't want to be like that, so I'm changing. So you have to learn that lesson.
Absolutely. And that's literally something I say a lot, because the way these conversations tend to go on this show, we always end up to that ultimate question, And so I've always said it, and I still stand by it, is that if we're not constantly evolving and growing, then what is the fucking point? You know what I mean? We have to keep learning. We have to keep going, And if we run into a situation that we don't want repeated, we learn from that,
Well, I mean, that's kind of how everybody is. You all got to learn, whether it's learning about your surroundings or just learning about yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Technically, it could be one and the same, because you got to learn about yourself in that particular surrounding, to understand how would you react. What's the appropriate way to react? How have I reacted in the past? And it's scientifically backed. It's all neural pathways being built and formed, But anyway, so do you have anything in particular that you would like to talk about?
I got asked last minute, so my mind's kind of like, boo.
Yeah, but given how the conversation has gone or whatever, is there anything that you feel like maybe we left out or something that you would like to share about?
Let's see. I honestly don't know. I mean, this was last minute for me, so I had no thought process going in. And I'm not sure what people would like to know or not know or want to ask me. So I'm kind of like, what do I say?
Okay. Well, Dina did very good at asking questions. So the floor is open to anybody else if anybody has questions for Jessie. This may just very well be the last time you get to ask him. He is a rare sight. So if you have a question, now's the time to ask. He's not a very open book, so to speak. But if you ask him a question,
very social person.
Huh?
I'm not a very social person.
Yeah,
I keep my friend group small.
Yep. But he does answer questions. So if you have a question, you can just ask it.
Very few things are taboo either.
No. Yeah. There's. You guys should really hear some of our conversations in the group. Oh God. I
I
keep
don't know
thinking
if they
about,
survive.
huh? Oh. What
Uh,
is the powerhouse of a biological Ruben, really? Ruben, stop. Okay.
best evidence I've gotten. Mine. As far as evidence, because I mean, some of my experience, most of my experience, well, a lot of my experiences that I've had, I wasn't ghost hunting at that point. As far as full on ghost hunting, and some of them I have had, but most of my stuff, like seeing my grandmother or so on and so forth, that happened before I got into ghost hunting or had all the equipment or any of that. So, best one probably be I've gotten some good orbs. I've gotten some shadow people at one point. I mean, those would probably be the two things that I've gotten.
Okay. And she's asking also, like, what about like retained evidence, like EVPs, pictures, etc.
I don't think I've had an EVP with me in it as far as what I go, as far as mine. Like I said, I do tend to take a lot of pictures more than anything. It's not that I don't use the recorders and stuff. It's just I don't tend to because everybody else is there. We have such a large group.
Yep. So, how about in your photos? Have you captured anything that was really awesome? Well, like the orbs, for instance. What was one of the best orbs you found, and where was it?
The best orb would have probably been Wilson Cemetery, I believe.
Okay. Dina wants to know, what are your thoughts on shadow people?
In what way?
Probably your theory as to what shadow people are. There's so many different theories about what they could be, and I'm sure that's probably what she means. Is what are your thoughts on shadow people? So when you
Do
say
I?
the word shadow people, I think they subscribe to the idea of the evil entity of actual shadow people and not people that look like shadows. Does that make sense?
Okay. So you're saying, do I think they're demonic, or do I think what do I think they are? Like as far as that goes, I would say, I mean, I don't think it has to be a shadow person to be mean spirited, or as you would say, I guess, or demonic or whatever. I mean, it could be just that they don't have enough energy to fully form yet. They could be not just fully formed.
Okay. Yeah, and that's what kind of, dang it, connection.
So I guess my thought process. Well,
My
you're
God,
back in.
I am
Are you?
so annoyed right now. So Dina, she puts it in a good way. So like some people think that that shadow people are their own group of spiritual things or whatever, as to like seeing a person who is of shadows. Does that make sense? Like if we see the form of a human in the shape of or a shadow in the shape of a human, it could be black, it could be white, it doesn't matter. It's more of a mist, so to speak. But shadow people, in some aspects, it's a whole group of their own, where they are tricksters, they prank people, they cause harm to people, and they are solid masses of just black, like they're blacker than black, and they take on the form of a human, but you can't see any distinguishing features. So
I wouldn't say necessarily I would find them to be necessarily evil or anything like that. I mean, yes, some of them may be mean spirited, but I don't think all of them would be that way. I mean, there's other ghosts that we know look like people and are mean spirited anyway, poltergeists and stuff like that. I mean,
Right. So
so
Dina said others think that they're people with low energy, which is what you said.
yeah,
Um, and people others think that they're a spirit of a dead.
or they want people to harm themselves. I mean,
So
I think everything's kind of a grab bag, a mixture. I mean, when you get down to it, and then you can get into the people who think that some of it would be fey, even
mhm.
like.
I'm going to say I think the biggest theory about where all this comes from, like Dina is talking about, because I've heard the same exact things that she's saying from Amy Allen of the Dead Files, who actually has encountered shadow people, and she's the one who really differentiates between the difference between a spiritual and a shadow person. And she herself says that they tried to get her to die by having her electrocute herself. I can't remember, sticking her finger into a socket or something like this. And she says when she encounters shadow people, that's what they tend to do. They are people who mess with other people. They try to cause harm, chaos in people's lives, things like that. And I think that whole idea, anybody's watched Amy Allen, that's where that,
Hmm.
you know.
Well, I mean, I don't know on that one. I think
Joe,
different dimensions is interesting.
yeah, I'm wondering, Joe, do you mean like aliens, or do you mean just a different plane of spiritual?
Well, he could. That could be multi-Earth dimension. Dimensions are all different kind.
Right. Wait for him to see what he says. I guess there is a possibility they could be alien, you know?
Well, I mean, for all we know, another dimension, Earth's inhabited by a different type of an alien instead of human. Who knows? I mean,
Joe said it's like they are almost stuck between the dimensions.
but then if they were stuck, would they be able to interact with the dimension itself?
Oh, good thought.
Because if they're
Well,
stuck in between, how would they be? That
be
would
on
make,
one or the other.
yeah, that'd be kind of a.
The different
So
dimensions, but it's almost like they're on the edge of crossing over.
mm, it could be that they like to dance along the border.
Maybe they're stuck in limbo.
That could be it, or maybe the in between is there, because that's kind of what it is with the Fae. They're supposed to be on the in between.
Right. And it could explain some of the behavioral issues too that they show. Maybe they're just scared. Maybe they're not trying to be mean, but maybe they're just trying to figure out what's next, or act out like children because they're still learning, or something like that.
Or they could be Fae itself,
And it could be.
because they are supposed to be at the in between spaces.
Right.
If you go by them being dimensional.
They're on the fringe. But
Well, I'm on the edge of glory, I guess. Then
all right. Well, if anybody got any more questions, now it's time to get it in, because the show is just about over now. Um, Again, this might be the last time you get a chance to ask him anything. So, unless I can get him convinced to come back on.
maybe.
That's the most I've gotten. Yay. I'll take it. So, all
But
right.
more of a warning next time, please.
Today I was just going to wing it. You know what I mean? It was just, last week was absolutely chaos at work. And then it went into the weekend, and I did not have the time to just go, okay, who am I going to invite? And so I was going to wing it myself. conversation. That's hard. but all right, guys. So I guess that's it for the show today. It is oh, she says thank you, Dina. Sorry, my thing is lagging so bad. I'm way behind, I think. But anyway, this Thursday is the Cryptid Show with Steven, and for Joe, we will be talking about La Lorna. La Lorna. Multiple L's in there. La Lorna. So make sure you join us 6 p.m. this Thursday, and we'll see you guys then. Bye. Thanks for coming on, Jessie.
You're welcome.